Right, carry on. What's the worst injury I've ever had? Well, luckily I've never really had many injuries, serious ones ever. Get a lot of stuff in my eyes. I won't say like badly, but they feel bad. Probably the worst one was when I was hard to say. Not even a teenager, younger than that. Like 11, 12 maybe, something like that. We used to often go off on our own, find places to mess around, and we was messing around in a building site. Because back in the days then, they didn't put fences around building sites. The ladders was left up the scaffolding, you could just go up to the top, mess around, do whatever you wanted. And I remember, I think they'd been taking windows out of somewhere, and all these windows were on the floor. And I'd previously seen on television a woman, a lot of times like a Hitman program, I don't know, or film, and this woman had got a pillow, put it over her window, and smashed her hand through it. So I thought, right, I'm going to try that then. Got this little bit of rag, chucked it over the window, punched my hand through it, and then when I pulled it back out, I'm sure, I cut all my wrist here. I crapped myself and ran home holding it really tight. You know what I was doing? I just thought, I've got to hold that tight, ran home. Once I got home, nearly fainted, but luckily, it was this side, and it hadn't actually done much damage at all. I've got a bit of a scar there, but it wasn't nothing much. No real blood, but it was just more scary to be like 11, 12 and had done that. So that's probably the worst injury I've ever had. Right, time for some FPV action. Do you make money from YouTube? If so, how much? Do you plan on selling shirts with your logos or decals? Do I make money from YouTube? Yeah, most people probably do. How much do I make? You want to know the grand total of what I make nowadays? Average about 20-30 quid a month. Not a lot at all. Do you plan on selling t-shirts with your logos, decals? I actually have thought about that before. Not for profit, but it's thinking of a decent logo in the first place, because I'd want a logo, to be honest, what could be made into like a sew-on patch kind of thing. Simple but recognisable. So maybe one day when that's all figured out, I'd love to do something like that. Right. Crash or fire. Why don't you and your twin do videos together, since the channels are similar in theme? Well, that's a weird one. I don't know why we don't. Neither of us have ever actually said to each other, do you want to do a video together? I don't know. Perhaps I'll have to ask him. We'll have to do it one day. Who knows why we don't do it? Just never asked each other, I suppose. Just doing our own things. Mr. Radioactive Shepherd said, hey Malc, do you like cooking, and what do you usually cook? Would you ever consider moving to a more liberal country? If so, which country? Do I like cooking, and what do I usually cook? I wouldn't say I necessarily like cooking. Well, I cook every single day for 4 people. Because she's off out working, doing a caring job in the evening, so every time I get home, no one's cooked nothing, so I have to cook dinner. So I cook for 4 people every day. Wouldn't necessarily say I enjoy it. What do I usually cook? Anything and everything. Cook a lot of pasta stuff, a lot of stuff with rice, whatever it is. I do prefer to cook easy stuff. Like spaghetti bolognese, that's easy. some sort of curry and rice. That's easy, whatever, you know. Would you ever consider moving to a more liberal country? I don't know which country, but I've often thought I'd love to move to a country where you could literally just go out your door and do your bushcraft and not be worried about being done for it or seeing other people, you know. So I don't know whether America's like that, whether you could, certain parts you could literally just go out, do what you wanted. You know, I don't mean do completely what you wanted, but to some extent, bushcraft wise, hunting, that would be nice. So if so, which country? Well, I don't know, because I don't know which countries let you do that. The young bushcrafter. What's your favourite style and wood for a bow? Well, by far, without a shadow of a doubt, my favourite wood for a bow is English yew. 100%. I've made more bows out of yew and had more success out of making bows with yew. Every time seems to just near enough always works. Whereas I've tried ash, elm, sycamore, birch, beech, loads of different woods. By far the best one is yew. What's my favourite style? Flat bow, but not too wide. Not massively wide, but flat bow style. Right, let's find another. Better just put this on charge while this runs out. Sean Cavallo, who do you work for? How did you start your survival bushcraft hobby? What is your favourite to watch on YouTube? Did you ever have a teacher in the craft or yourself taught? What do I do for work? Already told you, tree cutting. How did I start survival bushcraft hobby? Told you from not YouTube, from the SAS 5 Land book. Alright, now I'm just going to slightly tell you one thing. After years of not doing, I know I've already said this, after doing years of like just doing teenage rubbish, whatever, and then just being a working bloke, I hadn't done it for years, and then in about 2005 I started doing it again, because kind of, no, it could have been earlier than that, maybe 2003, started getting more into it like I was again, reading books, doing a bit outside, but I really got back into it properly when I started doing my YouTube videos, to be honest with you. Who's your favourite to watch on YouTube? Oh, that's a hard one, same as the film one. Don't know who to say. Trying to think of people who, if I go on YouTube, I search them out to have a look. Well, I'm not sure about that one. I might have to come back. We might have to come back to this one. Did you have any teacher in the craft, or are you self-taught? Self-taught, I suppose, or taught from books and then trying it. Mick and Chaz Adventures. What is your view on Islam? Well, that's a different question. See, the problem for me is, for me to give an informed opinion on an entire religion, really I need to be an expert on it. And as I'm not an expert on any religion at all, not one of them, and I've only ever really heard about most religions from either what I've seen on things, read in the papers, if we ever buy one, or you see on the news. You only ever hear whatever they're telling you. And as we all know, TV and that's are a bit weird, you know, the crap they put on them. So my view on Islam, I can't really give a view, because, you know, I'd like to give people a proper opinion of things, but for me to do that, I need to know the ins and outs of it. So can't really say on that one, mate, I'm sorry. Right, smug barbecue. What are your plans for when the zombies come? Well, my plans would be to bug in for as long as I could. Hope they don't smell me in the loft. Maybe, or maybe not, or maybe go for it, go on the run, I don't know. Hard to say with zombies. Second, would you rather have an extra leg or an extra arm to make 3 of each altogether? 100% an extra arm. That'd be very handy. Third and final question is, what do you get up to when you're not in the woods making these cool videos for us all? Well, if I'm not doing videos or in the woods working, if I'm not working, I'm either sitting at home, going on the internet, YouTube, Facebook, or kind of like trying to look for things, like research things, find out new ideas, stuff like that, or making stuff, you know, like making the old plastic sheaths or stuff out of leather or whatever. 98YZFR1. Do you have any first aid, additional first aid training for your job? Quite literally, in your job, one slip and it could all be over. You carry a basic tailored first aid kit to the woods specific to cuts and minor injuries. Do you carry anything in the car, work truck? Have you ever had to deal with someone who's seriously injured? Well, first one, luckily, never ever had to deal with someone seriously injured. Second, we've got 2 first aid kits in the van. One, it was near enough size of a suitcase. It's a massive thing. And it's got quite a lot of heavy duty stuff in there, and it's also got, I can't remember what they're called, but it's got these special packets of stuff which is like for traumatic injuries, and it's supposed to be able to stop any arterial bleeding. You open the packet and you pour this stuff into the wound and then cover it over, and that's supposed to stop anything. And then we've got 2 smaller first aid kits, but the first one honestly is about the size of a suitcase. Do I have any additional first aid training for the job? To be honest, no, I haven't. What I've done for years is kind of studied, not that, you know, because reading stuff and practicing stuff is 2 different things, I suppose, and you can't really practice this. But I often read this and stuff like this online, and it's, I know it's not necessarily applied, but survival first aid, and it is for like stuff outside and that, but perhaps I ought to get some proper training for that. Right. Nighthawk 3012. What part of the country are you from? I'm from the UK. I was just going to say where the map anyway. From the UK, England, down the south, southeast, a place called Buckinghamshire. That's where I'm from. Red Doe Running. Do you get most of your knives from your brother that you review? Funny enough, no. Nearly all the knives, I think I might have been given a couple by Mike, but they weren't to review, they was just Christmas or birthday presents. All my knives I ever normally review is ones I've actually just bought myself. 99% of the time. I buy them because I want them, and then I think, well, I'll do a review about it, whatever. Songline art. Greatest mishaps and mistakes made in the forest. Cheers, mate. Well, luckily, I haven't made nothing too bad, because I'm one of these people, I normally prepare for things, and if I'm going out for a certain thing, I normally take what I need. Even when I'm camping, I'll take probably more, maybe a little bit more stuff and multiples of things, so if something fails, I can still do something else. And the only last mistake I made in the woods was going down there with just a ferro rod and a penknife, thinking I could just make fire like that. It had been raining all day and I could not make fire at all. Not very exciting, but that was the last thing, like kind of mistake I did. XLE 5363, what do you do for a living? Well, I've already said that. Trees. The Somber Ian V70. What is the best, aka your favourite, most robust or easiest to set trap to set in the wild? That's the last question. I'm just double checking. Well, the Grim Prepper is, I would like to see you make a real U-bow. Think you're the man for the job. You think you're up for the challenge. Not a question, but yeah, I'll definitely do that. And Amra Survival has written, no questions, just wanted to let you know I like your channel. Really cool, stay tuned. Cheers, mate. So we'll go back to the Somber Ian V70. What's your best favourite trap? Well, if I ended up in the wild and I needed to make a trap for actual survival, something like the Arapuca trigger, for me, that is the easiest you can ever do. But maybe not without a cage on it, maybe with a rock or a log on it. Now, if I was being legal and we was actually going out trapping legally, it would be, I don't know if it's in here, my Mark IV Fen trap, and that thing works every time with squirrels. You would not believe it. I've done a video of it before. I'll have to do an actual video in action with it. So Arapuca trigger, but with a rock, maybe not a cage, and if it was the kind of normal times, Mark IV Fen trap. And anyway, that's all the questions that I can see on here. Oh, there was one other what was asked on Facebook, and that was Olaf had asked me who's my favourite crazy person. Oh, that's you, Olaf. Right, well, that's your questions done. Hopefully no one will ask any more questions in the meantime. If they do, what I'll have to do is we'll have to do another question and answer. So any more that come through, we'll do them on another video later on. Preferably I'd like to do another video to get you to ask questions rather than keep putting on this one. It's hard to find them. But yeah, that's your questions answered. Hopefully I hadn't missed any. So, been a long one. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you later.